Hmm. Another talent that passed away this week. I don't know if you had any interactions with him. Was Ole Anderson, Rob? Um, he's been known to be a curmudgeon backstage at certain points, but obviously a big influence on the business. One of the original Four Horsemen. Did you have any interactions with Ole, crossed paths or anything like that, or was that
Did, did you say he's been known to be curmudgeon?
a curmudgeon? Yeah, kind of
What
like
the I've never heard that word in
never
53
heard that
years
before.
in my life.
I'm gonna look up the definition.
53 years and 11 weeks.
Curmudgeon. Let me see here. I've been hearing that term used quite a bit for him lately.
Must be a Pittsburgh expression.
It says, okay, so curmudgeon, a noun, a bad-tempered person, especially an old one. So I don't know if it's very fair to call him old when he was a curmudgeon if he was earlier on, but it says a bad-tempered.
Yeah. So, so yes, I
Mhm.
did. In December of 1992, RVD got hired by WCW by the guy that was running WCW at the time, Mr. Bill Watts, the cowboy. He was friends with Ron Slinker. That was my in. I changed my name from Rob Van Dam to Robbie V while I was there because Cowboy Bill Watts didn't want to use Van Dam on TV because there was already a Van Dam out there. Bill seemed to like me. I wrestled a little bit in December, wrestled in January. In February, I went to Japan for my first tour of Japan, February of 93. Brady Boone got me hooked up with that, by the way, by hooking me up with Lord Blears. And Lord Blears in Hawaii booked me in Japan. And that's a name from way back that some people might be familiar with. I won't be surprised if you're not. Anyway, I went to Japan. Now, WCW had a relationship, a working relationship with New Japan, with Inoki. They would trade talent back and forth, Muda, whatever. All Japan didn't have that with WCW. All Japan, if anything, they would work with WWE. So for me to go to All Japan while I was working with WCW was kind of like working on the other side of the fence, you know, with the competition prospectively. It wasn't something that was done, but I was told by Bill Watts that I could do it because it was an obligation that I was finishing that had been booked before I started with WCW. I went to Japan, got over there really big, knew I had a job as long as I wanted one there. Baba was so cool. But when I came back, Bill Watts was no longer the boss. Ole Anderson was.
Oh,
And, yes, sir. And Ole Anderson didn't seem to have the same interest in Robbie V that Bill Watts did. I found myself right away being unhappy. I was either being jobbed out on TV or I was giving people tryouts in dark matches that wouldn't even be shown.
wow.
And I was already like, dude, I'm making more money on the independent scene than I am here, you know, and I'm on TV doing what? Just getting beat. This ain't good for me. And by the way, also during that time, Ole Anderson banned using the top rope because he wanted to see wrestling go back to the fundamentals. I was allowed to do the split-legged moonsault because I was just bouncing off of it, not climbing up it and jumping off of it. So that was an exception. But anyway, I ended up leaving. I ended up quitting. The agent was Mike Graham.
Mhm.
And, you know, I told him, yeah, you know, I don't. He had kept asking for my contract. Since I started, I never turned in a contract. And every few weeks, I would tell him I lost it, and Mike Graham would bring me another contract. Okay, you know, bring it next week. Sure. I didn't want to sign with them because I felt, you know, I felt unsure the whole time. I'm getting $100 for house shows. No, $150 for house shows, $100 for TV. They would dock you $50 because you're on TV. The exposure should be worth it. Yeah.
Wow.
So imagine 3 towns of house shows and a 4th town of TV. And so like for the whole shebang, I'm making 450 handling my hotel and gas and car rental or whatever. But that's why 4 guys chip in. Anyway, Ole Anderson was the boss at that time, and I ended up telling Mike Graham finally that I was leaving, and he tried to get me to stay just by offering me an extra $50 a week, and I was just like, man, I really think the universe is telling me I should leave.